Talmor, Sheshin Morachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Burntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I uncover the blasphemous truth of a plague-ridden world, that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Burntwine, coming January 2nd, wherever podcasts are available.
And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
If you grew up in Canada in the 80s, there's virtually no chance that you would not know the music of Corey Hart. 2019 inductee into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. You'll know his stuff. He's had tons of hits. Sunglasses at Night, Never Surrender, Boy in the Box, and it goes on. 16 million albums sold worldwide, 9 U.S. Billboard Top 40 hits, 30 top 40 hits in Canada. Nominated for the Best New Artist Grammy Award in 1984, is a multiple Juno Award winner, and he's a super good guy as well. Very personable, engaged in the conversation when we talked, and we really got into it with Corey. The shows that he was binge watching at the time, he recommends Future Man, if you haven't seen that. How the Police were a big band in his world as a kid. He talked about Rod Stewart, Sarah McLachlan, Billy Joel, Kenny Arnoff. We touched on alien visitation, how he almost died in Spain. We got into superpowers, and Corey talked about today's music industry and playing by the rules. Listen to this.
I think that music today is that you got to play by the rules that that are out there, and there's a lot of advantages that artists have today that I didn't have back in the 80s. At social media, for example. You mentioned Good Rocking Tonight. The only opportunity that I had to speak to my Canadian fans is if Terry David Mulligan was gracious enough to give me 30 or 40 seconds to say something to my fans. Now, an artist can pick up his iPhone and write a message to his fans, unfettered, unedited,
right.
And it can reach, every fan from every corner of the world. So there's a great benefit to that. I think that the fact that nobody can buy records anymore and that they don't buy records anymore, which is, I guess, raised the prices of ticket concerts. I think that's sad. I think there was always, I remember as a kid, we were talking about that, just, going down and buying my 45s. I loved that feeling of holding it in my hand. So I think the new generation are missing out on that experience, but, you got to move with the times.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Find them online at tedcorvsuppliesinc.com.
Hey there, it's Rachel Ballinger, and I am extremely excited to invite you to Rachel Uncensored. It's my podcast where I sit down and get real with my friends and celebrity guests, where we talk about all sorts of topics. And sometimes we might be under the influence when we do so. We cover things from personal stories to hot-button issues. And it's the only place on the internet you can find an uncensored version of me. It's a side of me that you might not have seen before because it's not the most family or brand friendly. But don't worry, I'm still sort of slightly a decent human being. If you're intrigued, then make sure you check it out. New episodes drop every Wednesday. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the fun and candid conversations we have here on Rachel Uncensored.